This morning, I have a story to share with you about two birds. These birds grew up in the same nest and they did all the things that birds did. They learned to fly, they learned to chirp and sing, and they learned to get up early for breakfast. And as they grew up, the birds started to have different interests. One of the birds loved to be out flying and exploring, hopping from branch to branch on different trees, gliding through the air, finding different worms in different places. And one of the birds loved to be in its cozy nest, all warm. This bird enjoyed the tree that its nest was in, and it enjoyed the grubs it would find in the ground around that tree. And one day, the bird who loved to be out flying decided that it was going to leave the nest forever. This bird was going to fly away on an adventure to explore, to learn, to experience. The bird who loved to be in the nest decided that it was going to do the opposite. It was going to stay in its cozy nest, all warm and comfortable. So one day, the bird who yearned to explore got up and flew away. It, of course, said goodbye to the other bird. And the bird who decided to stay in the nest decided, I'm going to stay in this nest. And the two birds were by themselves. All was well for the first day or so, each bird doing what it wanted to do. The bird who flew away was delighted by a new meadow, and it encountered birds and creatures it had never seen before. The bird who stayed in the nest was so comfortable and enjoyed some needed rest. But before too long, the birds started to feel a little unsettled. The bird who was out on an adventure realized it didn't know where to sleep each night. And the bird who stayed in the nest was now a little lonely. And soon the bird who was out flying was feeling lonely too. And the bird in the nest was having trouble falling asleep. These birds soon realized that they were choosing one way to experience their world, and that by choosing just one way, they were neglecting something important. They were neglecting themselves. Though one bird might enjoy the adventure and the unknown, and one bird might enjoy comfort and the known, neither bird was fully living. And so, as if they knew what was happening to each other, the bird who stayed in the nest flew out to find the other bird, and the bird who flew away started to return. And they bumped into each other. And they spoke about what they were feeling and how both birds wanted to experience an adventure or something new, but also the comfort of a known place. And I share this story today because all morning we have been sharing stories that are about exploring. These are stories that tell us, that show us, in small ways and large ways, that we can learn through exploring. And these stories also show us that exploring is not the only way. There is exploration, but there is also knowing our homes, knowing ourselves, knowing where we come from so that we might return to it. Because when we are only explorers, we are taking in, we are greeted by novelty, we are outward looking. And when we are only focused on the known and comfortable, we are inward looking, we are focused on the norms, we are structured. And there's a researcher at Boston University who studies psychology and religion. His name is Dr. Stephen Sandage, and he writes about spiritual seeking and spiritual dwelling. Both, in his research, are useful ways of being in one's life. There are positive attributes to being a seeker or being a dweller. But to only seek or to only dwell means we give up possibility. With only seeking, we are without a spiritual home to ground us. And with only dwelling, we become complacent. The Moana story tells us about seeking and dwelling. The Moana story is about a girl who goes beyond the reef. Her community had become so focused on dwelling on their island that they told her not to go. And yet she explored. And when she explored, she reached another being who was dwelling with anger, an anger that had overtaken itself. And how was this anger resolved? With the return of a heart that had been out in the wild. But once the heart was returned to its home, Te Fiti returned into being. Love returned. As Reverend Sophia asked earlier in the telling of the Moana story, where would we be without our hearts? This is the question that helps us find our grounding as we might explore. The explorer in Moana helped bring about a balance in her community because she knew what grounded her. The story of Corduroy that Chuck shared shows us that sometimes we are drawn to seeking because we want to dwell. This is so lovingly depicted in this story of a teddy bear with a missing button and the girl Lisa who brings him to her home. What we come to learn in this story is that in seeking connection, we can dwell together in friendship. We are creatures who survive alongside each other. And to dwell alone does not fully feed our spirits. To dwell together gives us a certain capacity to explore together as well. And Sarah shared a story called Finding Wild earlier. What I hope you hear in that story is the fullness that comes with exploring, because there is a lot that comes with exploring. There are wonderful smells like mint and pine. There are wonderful tastes like a sun-warmed berry. But exploring in the wild can hurt as well. There are itches, there are burns, there are stings, there are mosquitoes. To be a seeker in this world means we might bump into uncertainty and we might feel anxious about an idea that is new to us. But it might also mean wandering into a way of thinking that makes more sense to us. When we explore our faith or our faiths, when we seek in this pluralistic world, we might encounter where our heart is most at home. And when we find this home, which might look like this gathering of us here today, we are invited to dwell. Because when we dwell, we strengthen the bonds that can hold us throughout life. When we dwell, we tell ourselves that we have found a safe spot to practice. We have found a safe spot to think. We have found a safe spot to be. And as we dwell, we might feel that urge to explore again. And let us not deny that in our spiritual lives, as Unitarian-Universalists, we value transformation. We value the exploration that is grounded. Dwelling and seeking are both important to the love that is at our center. So we share these stories today. We share this service today because sometimes we need a reminder that to be seekers and dwellers is to be. And it is so important to be. To be you, to be you, to be you. To be you is so important. Amen. And blessed be.